also known as regulation of respiration or regulation of breathing. Regulation of respiration or regulation of breathing. Or breathing. Main function of respiration is to provide oxygen to the tissues and remove carbon dioxide produced due to metabolic actions. And this demand of oxygen is fluctuating. Sometimes oxygen demand becomes more, sometimes becomes less. And this regulation of respiration regulates the respiration rate and depth of respiration so that body gets optimal or sufficient amount of oxygen according to need of the body and remove the carbon dioxide produced. This is about regulation of respiration. This may be divided into regulation of respiration is voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary means a person can hold his respiration, breathing, but for few seconds. For example, I can hold my breathing but I cannot continue it for a long time. This is voluntary, only for few seconds. This is voluntary control. Second is involuntary control. Involuntary control that we are not conscious about our respiration, and this involuntary control system is designed in such a manner, complex manner, that it adjusts according to the need of the body. Involuntary system, involuntary regulation divided into number one, neural, and second is chemical. In neural, higher centers. Higher center means higher centers. Cerebral cortex, hypothalamus, and limbic system. They control, higher centers control respiration. In anxiety, stress and strain, emotion, respiration becomes more, and these centers have a role to control or regulate respiration during those conditions. Then chemical. In chemical control, higher centers and then medullary centers. Centers present in, first is higher center, second is respiratory centers present in the brain stem. In brain stem, you know that brain stem consists of midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata from above downward. The brain stem, these respiratory centers are present. Respiratory centers present in the brainstem. Respiratory centers are present in medulla oblongata, and pons. Let us discuss one by one. In medulla oblongata, inspiratory centers, and expiratory centers are present. Expiratory centers are present. This inspiratory center is responsible for inspiration and expiratory center is responsible for expiration. In medulla oblongata, then coming to pons. In lower pons, there is apneustic center. Apneustic center that is always active and tonically stimulates inspiratory center. It causes inspiration. And then upper pons. In upper pons, pneumotoxic center. Pneumotoxic center. Pneumotoxic center is present. This is responsible for inspiration and expiration. It involves or controls. It controls inspiration and expiration. Pneumotoxic center. And of course, these centers are under control of cerebral cortex, higher center. Inspiratory center in medulla oblongata, inspiratory center, expiratory center. Inspiratory center and expiratory center. Then here this is apneustic center. Apneustic center is here and it has positive effect, stimulatory effect on inspiratory center. Then there is pneumotoxic center. Pneumotoxic center. It is in lower pons, it is in upper pons. Pneumotoxic center inhibits Apneustic Centre. This center, pneumotoxic center, is under control of higher centers. That is cerebral cortex higher center. This is about neuronal control of respiration. Now coming to chemical control. Chemical control of respiration. Chemical control of respiration. Chemical control. This is due to chemoreceptors present in different parts of the body. Chemoreceptors are divided into number one, peripheral chemoreceptors. Central chemoreceptors, pulmonary chemoreceptors, and cardiac chemoreceptor. Pulmonary chemoreceptors are present in pulmonary vessels and they are not acting in normal physiological conditions. Only when there is some pathology, for example, pulmonary embolism occurs, then they become active. And cardiac chemoreceptors are present in cardiac arteries and they are active only when there is myocardial infarction or some myocardial damage is there. They do not take part, that is pulmonary chemoreceptors and cardiac chemoreceptors do not take part in normal regulation of respiration. Therefore, we will focus only on peripheral chemoreceptors and central chemoreceptors. Peripheral chemoreceptors are of two types. Number one, carotid body and aortic body. Aortic bodies and aortic body. Carotid body is present at the bifurcation of this is arch of aorta, common carotid artery bifurcates into internal and external carotid artery. This is common carotid artery, external carotid artery and internal carotid artery. At this place, at the bifurcation of the common carotid artery, there is carotid body. One on each side, there is carotid body. And aortic bodies are present, aortic bodies, 2 or 3 aortic bodies are present. They are present at this side. This is present at this side, aortic body. And they are sensitive to oxygen concentration. Oxygen concentration in the blood. Oxygen, carotid body and aortic bodies are sensitive to oxygen concentration of the blood, and when stimulated they affect respiration, regulate respiration. If oxygen is less, they will stimulate respiration. Number 2 is central chemoreceptor. Central chemoreceptor. Central chemoreceptors are present in the medulla oblongata. It is present in medulla oblongata near Inspiratory Centre and Expiratory Centre. They are present in this part, in the reticular formation of the medulla oblongata. It is medulla oblongata. In medulla oblongata, this is present in near the inspiratory and expiratory center, but it is not same as inspiratory center or expiratory. It is a different entity. Then they are stimulated by these central chemoreceptors are stimulated by hydrogen ion concentration in the cerebrospinal fluid or interstitial fluid present in the medulla oblongata. Hydrogen ion concentration. Hydrogen ion comes from carbon dioxide of metabolism plus water, and this will form in presence of carbonic anhydrase. This forms H2CO3. This will dissociate into hydrogen ion and SCO3. hydrogen ion and SU3. This hydrogen ion stimulates central chemoreceptor. Many other reflexes have effect on respiration, regulate respiration. For example, temperature, then exercise, J reflex, cuff reflex, etc. have role in control of respiration, but they are always through chemoreceptors or through neuronal control. So this is about regulation of respiration. Very simple presentation about a very complicated process of regulation. That is, it is divided into number one, voluntary and involuntary. Involuntary is divided into two, that is neuronal and chemical receptor, then chemoreceptor. The neuronal is divided into number one, higher centers, cerebral cortex, hypothalamus, limbic system, and lower centers, that is in medulla oblongata and pons. In medulla oblongata, respiratory centers, also known as dorsal respiratory group, DRG, and expiratory center, that is VRG, ventral respiratory group of neurons. And then in pons, in lower pons, Apneustic Centre, upper pons, Pneumotoxic Centre. And chemoreceptors, there are four types of chemoreceptors. Number one, peripheral chemoreceptor consisting of aortic bodies and carotid body. And then chemoreceptors are present in medulla oblongata, and then cardiac chemoreceptors in cardiac arteries, and pulmonary chemoreceptors in pulmonary blood vessels. But pulmonary and cardiac chemoreceptors are not taking part in normal regulation of respiration. And carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion, and oxygen play vital roles in regulation of respiration. So, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share this video and subscribe the channel. Thank you very much.